to the second race this weekend for the Scottish XR2 Championship. We're looking at Scott Fraser. He starts on the outside of row number 1 alongside poleman Andrew Winchester. This grid is taken from the results of race number 1 and sees Peter Cruikshank and Scott Morrison on row number 2 and Derek McDougall and Colin McKinnon on row 3. That's the front row then, about to get underway, waiting for the lights.
And away they go now. Pretty good start from the outside of the front row from the blue car of Scott Fraser, who was narrowly defeated in the first race of the day, and he's got it to the front at the start of race number 2. You can see some damp patches on the circuit at the start of this second race, but equally there are some dry bits as well, so the drivers will have to get used to the differing levels of grip that the circuit offers as they make their way round the lap. So actually they're on a damper bit of the circuit at the moment rather than a dry line. A little bit of jostling through the pack further back, but it is the blue car up front of Scott Fraser ahead of Andrew Winchester in second place. And up into third, a good start there from Scott Morrison in the pale yellow car, so a good drive for the 29-year-old who has some experience of driving in various scholarships as well, and is enjoying a first full season in XR2's this year. Coming up to the hairpin for the first time then, it's the blue car that's up front. It's Scott Fraser leading the way, Andrew Winchester just trying to find a way through. Bit of contact there, I think, Johnny.
There was indeed, yes, a big crunch, and a large piece of bumper fell off the back of Scott Fraser's car. He won't worry about that. It's actually a positive because his car weighs a little lighter now for him to get up the hill and over the top. Here they come then into view. Scott Morrison has made a good start, as you say, Ian, from the outside of row number 2, and has made the jump on Cruikshank, Peter Cruikshank, who lies in 4th position at the moment, finished 3rd in the earlier race. And just in behind Cruikshank is the yellow and greenish car of McKinnon. That's Colin McKinnon, car number 5 then, and he lies in 5th place at the moment, just ahead of Derek McDougall, the yellow car with the red bumpers. But it's all very, very close here for about the top 9 spots, all nose to tail.
Certainly are. The blue car there, Scott Fraser, leads the way, as he did for much of the first race of the day, but he was constantly hammered throughout by Andrew Winchester, and Winchester has really picked up where he left off. He did, of course, win eventually last time out. He's trying to go to the outside this time, coming into the hairpin, side by side further back, making up a position there is Peter Cruikshank. He gets ahead of Scott Morrison. It's still then the yellow and green car of McDougall in 5th position now, in fact, as Peter Cruikshank does make his way up the order. Across the line once more they go. So it's blue car Scott Fraser, yellow car Andrew Winchester, then Peter Cruikshank goes 3rd, but Scott Morrison is trying to fight back. The 2 cars taking very different lines into curves. We'll see who has made it through. It's just the red car. You could just see the nose of Peter Cruikshank's car making its way through towards the Scotsman, which was the next corner on the circuit. He holds on to the moment then for 3rd position as the cars flash past us once more.
Derek McDougall ran a little bit wide coming out of the Scotsman that time around into the gravel. Oh, he's gone wide again, and the back end really snaps away. That will allow possibly 1 white car through and maybe 2 white cars through. Now, we didn't see a lot of the white cars in the earlier race. One of them is Stuart Scott in the number 4 car. Just one Stuart in it. He's not named twice, by the way. And the other one is the 32 car of Dave Colville. Now, we're struggling to, again, tell you the difference between these, but we reckon that Stuart Scott is now on the inside line with the yellow bumpers, and it's Colville on the outside with the darker bumpers. Is that right, Ian?
Yeah, I reckon that's right. And further up the order, it's changed for 3rd once more because Scott Morrison has fought back in the SRE Motorsport car, prepared by father and son team of Jimmy and Barry, Simon Barry, who's recently, of course, raced in the BTCC supporting Renault Clio Championship, also run cars in the Seats as well. Into the first couple of corners of the next lap they go. Then it's the blue car that's leading the way of Scott Fraser, still Winchester, and Scott Morrison 3rd. As I say, rookie season for him, and he's doing very well to take the fight to these 2 drivers who've just got a little bit more experience than him up ahead. They've both got a season or so of experience. Peter Cruikshank, who had a 3rd and a 2nd place finish at Cadwell Park last time out. He was 3rd earlier on today, running in 4th position for the moment, so looking to get back up onto the podium. He's had a consistent season so far. As we take a panoramic view as the cars come back in towards the real radio hairpin. No change up at the front for the moment. It's still Fraser from Winchester, and then Morrison there 3rd, and Cruikshank looks to have dropped back a little bit now.
Cruikshank is being absolutely monstered from all angles here. It's 3 abreast coming out of there at the moment. It looks like Dave Colville is the first of the white cars now, just ahead of Stuart Scott. The top 3 breaking away, but Peter Cruikshank has also just behind him the car of McKinnon as well involved. So loads of cars at the moment in 5th position, and this is allowing the top 3 cars to stretch their legs a little bit, but the battle is still very heated at this stage. Scott Fraser just ahead then of Andrew Winchester and Scott Morrison, who's really done well to go with the pace of this leading duo throughout the first part of this race. Then comes Peter Cruikshank just over the brow there, ahead of Dave McCall and Stuart Scott then. So 2 white cars right behind the red car of Peter Cruikshank, and those 3 cars are trying their best now to start to reel in this leading trio to possibly make it a 6-car train.
Yeah, it's certainly very close up front still. No one has really made much of a break so far. There's Scott Fraser still leading the way from Winchester, from Morrison. This is our shot on the pit wall, and the cars will come racing past us, approaching maximum speed here around the lap as they continue to accelerate, and they'll keep accelerating for a bit further until they just lightly touch the brakes for the right and left-hander at Sayat. And a change of lead there. The number 2 car has gone through. Andrew Winchester's got the lead. He was on the outside line, but he carried better speed along the start and finish straight. So Winchester goes through. Down to 2nd goes Scott Fraser. 3rd is Scott Morrison, and all of this is allowing the red car of Peter Cruikshank to close back in. He's had a straight shot of race so far. That's Peter Cruikshank. He's been up and down the order a little bit. Oh, and they're very out of shape. I think that was Dave Colville just in behind. Stuart Scott there in 6th position. Stuart Scott in 5th. Dave Colville in 6th position. He's kept that place for the moment, although there are 2 or 3 cars just waiting to take the place away from him.
The cars reappear round the slight left kink of the railway straight. That's a bit of a contradiction in terms, but I think you know what I mean. On board with Scott Morrison, looking back at Peter Cruikshank, and they're all very nearly touching there, filling the camera lens, and that just shows how close these cars are coming out of Real Radio hairpin.
Yeah, 2 laps to go now, I reckon, in this 10-lap round of the Scottish XR2 Championship. It's the 6th round of a 15-race season. They've had one of their away days to Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire, a twisty circuit. And this is pretty demanding as well here at Knockhill. This, the battle a little bit further back that we're watching, as Peter Cruikshank is there in 2nd position, or in 3rd position I should say, for the moment, behind Andrew Winchester and Scott Fraser. The battle of the 2 white cars, the teammates, I think they're side by side they go, but it's still Stuart Scott ahead of Dave Colville. They are down in 5th and 6th positions. In 7th, to me, it looks like the Colin McKinnon car number 5. Into the hairpin once more. Oh, and there's Cruikshank defending there from Scott Morrison, who was trying to make a move up the outside, and now Stuart Scott's getting involved in there as well. So it's now 3 cars for 3rd place, but I think as the leaders go on to the final lap, it's just 2 cars left for the lead.
Billy Davidson has made a place up right at the back of this little group in the pale green or light blue coloured car, whichever you think is closest. Coming into Sayat Curve here, the number 3 car in 3rd position is Peter Cruikshank, who has now passed Scott Morrison, and right behind Morrison is still the Stuart Scott car, the white machine with the yellow bumpers. He's being monstered at the moment by Dave McCall, or Dave Colville I should say, coming through the John Arweir chicane, and going off onto the gravel there I think was the yellow car with the red bumpers. That will be Derek McDougall, the number 9 car, so he's dropped back considerably now, and the fight is really on for the lead once again as they come down the railway straight
for the final time. And can Scott Fraser overturn the deficit? Andrew Winchester, you can see these drivers have got their wipers on, and it's therefore a brave move for Scott Fraser around the outside. He got his nose ahead, but he's going to run wide on the exit of the corner, side by side as they come up towards the line. Then it's going to be, I think, the yellow car of Andrew Winchester that wins it. Checkered flag is out, and again they cross the line side by side. Another dramatic finish, but another victory for Andrew Winchester. This time it was comfortable, 57 1,000ths of a second compared to 7 1,000ths early on. Peter Cruikshank was 3rd again, Scott Morrison 4th, Dave Colville 5th as Stuart Scott ran wide towards the end of the race there. The points table looks like this, and it's equal at the top. It's Scott Fraser with 123 points, Andrew Winchester has 123, and Peter Cruikshank is just 7 points behind in 3rd.
Nice car.
Thanks. Do you know what? We should get married. Buy a house, have some kids, get a dog, and spend the rest of our